Welcome back, everyone, for episode 2 of our Impossible Landscapes series. Tonight's episode, Burning Down the House. Last week, we unfortunately didn't have Minty with us. So I'm going to go do a quick recap of what happened last week for his benefit and yours. We managed to get the team out of the night floors where we had left them trapped at the end of season 1. So last episode, they basically metagaming it. They had to fail some sanity checks so that they could escape because you had to go a little bit crazy to get out of the night floors, which they realized, and the realization cost them a little bit of sanity, but they did manage to get out. Along the way, they had a few encounters with some more weirdness, like a strange hallway abutting a chasm across which they could see through transparent walls, one-way walls, apparently, into other rooms of the strange hotel / apartment that they were trapped in, where they spotted Grimshaw one last time before he wandered off down a side hallway, probably never to be seen again, but who knows? They also ran into some interesting photographs that were depicting references to agents themselves and relatives of the agents, but they did manage to make it out. However, while in the night floors, Gaucher met his breaking point for sanity, which generally, when you're playing Delta Green, that means immediately you have a problem with a disorder that starts to ramp up. When you're in the night floors, that sort of like gets pushed to the side. But basically, as soon as Gaucher came out and went down the stairs, the magnitude of everything that was happening started slowly crashing in on from the back of his mind, back of their mind. And the next few minutes, they were rather quiet as Greeby and Gourmet did what they needed to do back in Wright's apartment. Gourmet was doing something in the kitchen that I can't remember at the moment. You were finding a way to take that whiskey glass, that Mark Rourke's whiskey glass that you yoinked on the way out, and like put it in a Ziploc or something and get it.
Oh, right. You were trying to get fingerprints off of it or something.
Yeah. You were making that secure while Greeby was looking through some of the books.
That's right.
That happened.
Thank you.
That you happened to pick up. Greeby spotted something in one of the books and took off. But basically, this whole time, Gaucher is standing in the corner, like still holding a couple of the books, while this sense of the room being way too small just sort of encroached on you. You sort of felt like you were standing in a closet, even though Greeby was, 5 feet away from you. It just everything felt way too close, way too tight. And when Greeby ran out, leaving the two of you standing there, you were more than happy to call it a night. What did you do after leaving the McAllister?
I think he had contacted his contact at the FBI or maybe the Marshal's Department. I don't remember, saying that he was going to be, I guess, delivering the glass probably the next morning, so that they could check for prints. Right.
And Gaucher, you find yourself outside, feeling a little bit better, a little bit of the world off of your shoulders. But even though you're outside, it still feels like, and you're not. To be clear to other people, the people watching, they're not in an area of New York where they're like skyscrapers and stuff, along every street. This is a relatively shorter area of New York, and yet still, it felt like looking up at the sky, it was like the buildings were like closing in over you, and the sky gap was closing in, and just felt like the world was closing in on you. How did you react to that, Gaucher?
Gaucher at that moment, having presumably their first major break, I don't know if they recognize it to the point of being logical, but I think they would recognize that I don't need to be here right now. No talking to anyone, no interaction, no keeping Overwatch on anything, because they're afraid if they open their mouth and interact with anyone, it's going to be an immediate start screaming. to get all the bad things in their head out, and they know better. We contain contagion. We don't spread it. And they won't do anything until they can get to their room, close their eyes, and spend, if not the entire night, most of the night screaming into a pillow, hoping that opens things up a little bit.
All right, make me a sanity check. No risk of loss, just to see how well you buck up against, using this method to fight this sudden claustrophobia. Has Gaucher experienced claustrophobia before?
They have not. Up until this point, they have never had really a major phobia. But now, they are coming to terms with the fact that this is probably not just something that's going to pass. Not anymore, not anytime.
All right. Well, you managed to keep the noise down, screaming into the pillow. You don't get any sleep. You drift off a couple of times, but you're haunted by just dreams of hallways that never end, and walls closing in on you, and hands reaching out of the walls and grasping you and trying to pull you into doors that weren't there when you last looked. And that wakes you up, and the screaming starts again, and you splash cold water in your face and take a few cold showers, and the night just drags on and on. But by morning time, you're sort of getting a handle on it. You're still feeling like everything is just too small. Even your clothes feel like they don't fit right. Just like the world. You're both feeling that the world is bigger than you realized it before, but also your part in it so much smaller that it's just suffocating. Can you manage to eat breakfast while in that mode?
I think they can try, but as to whether or not they are successful, since this is new territory for them, that is a very good question.
Okay, make a sanity check.
Keep breakfast
down. Yeah. Give me a sanity check. Let's see if you can keep
argue
that.
that up to this
point, they have not had to deal with major. So
yeah.
I'm
going to guess that you managed to eat breakfast, but by the time you meet back up with the rest of the scourge, it's either come up or it comes up on gourmet shoes. I'll let you decide.
I think since they kept it together enough, like the night of, they would have enough to just go find a random trash can and just immediately throw everything up. They'll spare their fellow agents at least a bill for new shoes and dry cleaning. If that's the only thing we can be spared out of all of our lives.
Right. You do have a moment of clarity while puking up your Eggs Benedict. And remember that you have an appointment today with a certain reporter that you were concerned about. So I'm digging through my notes for Ellie Drummond. You're supposed to meet her at 1 p.m. for lunch at some location in New York. That's what I wrote down. Some location. I guess we didn't establish that. So don't forget that. To remind you, you're worried that she may have a strange book that was given to her by Michelle Van Fitz, and you want to try to get that. But she has the book because you spoke to her. But you want to try to get the book back from her, and she agreed to meet you for lunch and give you the book and go over old times.
Yeah, that's going to be very much more difficult in their current state, but the alternative is having a contagion of insanity spread, so we're just going to have to lock the fuck in and get this done. Yeah.
The good news is it's Saturday, August 12th. It's not terribly hot. Although, early August can be a little warm in New York. It's not so bad right now. So there are several places you could eat outside that would help. Probably don't want to find some crowded little bistro. But meanwhile, last night, Greeby had a big, basically her own sort of breakdown when she realized that the photograph she was looking at in this strange book of like early 20th century porn was a picture of her sister. So she immediately went, left the McAllister, called the private eye that she has keep tabs on her sister who was in Chicago, and checked to see that Yelena was okay. They were. I believe Greeby was mollified. Were you able to get sleep last night?
No, I don't think. Well, I think it in fits and starts, and bad dreams and yeah. So I think and she's probably texting that poor private detective a ridiculous number of times.
Yeah.
Oh, I guess it is the 90s. I guess we didn't have that, didn't we?
Yeah, there was texting.
Okay.
But it was very crude. I mean, we had flip phones and things like that. I mean, it was 95. Let's see. That was the year I got married.
I didn't get
I didn't have a
like 99 or something like that.
Yeah, so. I didn't have a cell phone yet. They existed.
Pagers, maybe.
But we did establish that Greeby has something that she was able to call with. So you just may have one of the early giant cell phone stacks that so you can call people when you need to. But yeah, I guess texting SMS wasn't really that big of a thing. So maybe it's more voicemails. Yeah. Yeah, you're leaving voicemails on his answering service.
Yeah. I mean, we could even say like she could just be like parked, have her van parked out near the kitchen that she works in, and she's using the phone in there.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense.
And I think she probably gives up at some point on sleep and ends up just sitting at the bar and drinking
at the bar of the closed restaurant.
Yeah.
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 Anthony rolls in at some point and, off of one of his bender nights, he's still awake, makes some coffee, sits down with you. You're here early.
Or late, I guess, depending on how you look at it.
I appreciate those nights. Make me one of those.
You got it.
And the two of you sit and chat.
It's pretty easy to make. It's just straight vodka.
Yeah.
So
somehow I don't think Bourdain would have cared. Yeah.
It's ice cold though. You gotta be ice cold.
Right. Yeah. Well, they keep the stuff for the staff in the special chiller. Okay. So Gaucher and Greeby, I'm gonna say at least for the morning, maybe even into the afternoon, you'll probably be at like a minus 20% on any checks that you have to make just from lack of sleep and general anxiety. Gourmet, on the other hand, sounds like you probably got a nice night's sleep. You got an item. You have like a thing that you can do, even though you don't really know how to do that kind of stuff. You know a guy, and you have a plan.
Yeah, he probably went back to the hotel, used the gym, and probably for the first night in a while, slept like a baby. So
excellent. So you're well rested. You're fine.
Yeah, which means you're going to mess with me next.
Everyone today. So given that it's Saturday, there's no real expectation. No, let me rephrase that. There's no requirement, in terms of your cover job to be, at the McAllister doing the cataloging today. There may be an expectation that you'll go above and beyond, but being the weekend, they still will honor that. So you're not really expected to get back to that sort of work until Monday. So you kind of have the weekend to figure out what the hell you're going to do about this night floor stuff. Deal with the getting your glass off to your contacts so it can be checked for DNA, and figuring out about getting this book back. So what do you guys want to do with the morning? Are you going to convene, or are you going to do some separate stuff?
I think Gourmet. He's probably going to just deliver the glass to his contact. If it's FBI, I'm not sure who it was.
Yeah, I
But
don't think I made a note.
yeah, because I think we said U.S. Marshals probably wouldn't normally be doing that.
Right.
So maybe he has a
But
contact with the FBI
Yeah.
who can maybe have it done for Monday. I mean, they're a
Yeah.
24-hour organization, so
Yeah.
But this would be a favor almost. So he'd probably drop that off, and he's probably going to check his phone messages at home to see who's called while he's been gone.
Okay. What's your security code for your answering machine?
9678.
Oh, you changed it from 1234. Good man.
Did, yes.
Yeah, so you call up your answering machine and punch in the code. For those of you who are not old, you used to be able to do that. You could call your own answering machine, punch in a code, and get your messages from.
When you left messages for people, you didn't just text them. So
Yeah. Yeah. So, anything in particular you want to be on your messages?
He probably has missed appointments with his therapist. I believe from my notes, he's already missed 2 prior appointments with Dr. Moore due to work.
Mm-hmm.
So he probably has at least one message from her office saying,
Calling to reschedule.
you need to call and schedule another appointment with us. He was mostly doing the therapy to appease his ex-wife, who is not around anymore. So he doesn't worry about going to the therapy anymore. So he will probably just note it, delete the message. And
now, when you do therapy with this doctor, do you talk about Delta Green stuff? I mean, granted, you haven't been in Delta Green that long, but I mean, like in code. Obviously, you're not. You probably
no. This is strictly something he agreed to with his wife, because he had some childhood trauma that he's not quite dealt with, and it was suggested by his wife, possibly some superiors back in the day. And being a stoic Swedish American, he believes it's better to just push everything down. You can deal with everything in its own time, and that right now the job is far more important than his personal feelings. So,
yeah. All right, yeah. So pack it down and repress.
Yep. Just
push
it all down. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the Delta Green MO. All right, so that's what you're doing in the morning. You're getting your dropping the glass off and making small talk and trying to, because I mean, whoever your contact is going to be kind of wondering why you need this, but isn't going to ask in an official capacity because they realize it's not really official. So there'll probably be a little bit of small talk about that kind of stuff back and forth. That'll take your morning, get you, up until like lunchtime. So you guys won't be seeing Gourmet this morning. Do the two of you get together?
I think
Go ahead.
that when Gaucher arrives, they'll wait to see if Freebie also arrives, because they have
you're going over
faintest
to the
memory of
McAllister building?
stuff being
Yep.
found.
All right, so Gaucher's
With all
back
the
at the
world crashing
McAllister
down.
building. Are you going to do some work, like cataloging stuff as a means of therapy, or are you just going to hang out, or is there some other reason why you want to be there?
I imagine that Gaucher is starting to get the inkling with how they're feeling with one trip to night floors of how the other people in this place are starting to get. And they want to see if maybe that gives them some rapport with trying to talk to them about it. Since Michelle, since some of them very so politely told them to screw off last time, that they weren't ready or didn't understand. Maybe being partially insane is their key to understanding.
Right? Yeah, she did say you needed to do the work. So, well then, Greeby, are you going to be heading to the McAllister? Maybe trying to link up with Gaucher, or was there something else you wanted to do?
I think that eventually she's going to try to stop drinking and instead try to clear her head. Like she's probably gonna go for a run. Take and then come back. Try to probably stop at like I'm guessing she probably has like a YMCA or somewhere that she goes to take showers.
Probably.
Or yeah. Um and and then I think she would I think she probably wants to. I'm looking at my notes here
Mm-hmm.
of my things that she still wanted to look into that we hadn't done yet. But I mean, yeah, I think she'll just show up at the McAllister building, as if nothing odd happened last night. And she's gonna check her surveillance camera feeds and stuff. Kind of just go through the motions of like of that, and then maybe I think start going through the rest of the books that they pulled out of the night floors to see if I think that'll be the last thing she does because she's got to bolster up enough courage to actually want to look in them again, I think.
Gotcha.
So
all right.
So she's strolling in later than normal because it takes a bit for her to both get over the hangover and also like I think just work up the courage to go back and
Gotcha. Yeah, I imagine Gaucher is also a little bit later than normal too. So just because of what they're dealing with. So maybe on Gaucher's way out of the Wright's apartment to like head upstairs and go talk to the tenants. Greeby comes in and you guys meet up in the hallway and have a moment. Do you want to discuss, or should we just go with what you just said and I'll split you guys off and do stuff? Have an RP moment.
Me and Gaucher?
Yeah. Or not. Just
oh no.
Just as you meet in the hallway. Gaucher's coming out of Wright's apartment. You're heading in. They look like they have a mission. You look like you have a mountain.
They also, Gaucher does look like hammered shit compared to how they normally look. Their shirt is untucked. Their hair is not very straightened. Bags under their eyes that would put like a suburban mom grocery shopping to shame.
I think Greeby is still her normal, like very well, like everything's very like her hair is tightly pulled back. She's but you could see in her, I think more it's in the her eyes and then like the kind of set of her shoulders. She's exhausted and terribly worried and freaked out. And but she's trying her best to keep it together, and I think at this point now she's feeling like I think in a weird it's more personal now. I think she's coming at this as it's not just that they're trying to find this missing girl or figure out this mystery. Oh, I think what happened with the photo on the wall and then of the photo of her, that she found in the book, I think it's become more personal. And so yeah, I think she looks a little haunted. I don't know. But yeah, she'll be like, you look like how I feel, I think.
Oh,
Did you bring
uh,
did you bring coffee this morning?
I would if I could keep anything down this morning. Fortunately, that
Oh,
does not seem to be the case. I'm
I
assuming we
see.
don't discuss at all that. At least I hope you don't.
Yeah, we don't have to talk about it. Whatever. Yeah.
I'm,
What are you off to do?
given our recent trial, I'm wondering if that might be enough rapport with the residents here to maybe glean more information from them than they were willing to share. I think
Yeah.
that, well, I won't speak for anyone else but myself, but I think perhaps that experience has put us in a more connected demographic that they might understand.
Yeah.
And
I
if
think you're
not,
better
well,
at talking to people, so I'm gonna let you do that. And I'm gonna go in Abigail's apartment and go through the surveillance footage and audio from for the hours we weren't here, and then continue to work through all of the books that we brought out of the night floors to
I
see
will
if
be
there's anything of interest there.
I will be departing around noon to catch up with the contacts, and I might have a piece of the puzzle. I'm just hoping that she hasn't become infected by it.
Right.
And
All
with
right.
that, Gaucher like gives a awkward like, are we like trauma bonded, or is this too early in the 1990s to like know what the word trauma bond means properly in common parlance? Just like, all right, and then just goes to start talking with residents.
Right. Yeah. Okay. So let's do Gaucher's trip upstairs first. Did you want to go straight to Van Fitz, or did you have someone else in mind first?
They'll go to Van Fitz because out of everyone, Van Fitz was the most confrontational, but also seemed to hint at being lucid enough to know what they're asking about and to be coy about it. So
Gotcha.
either she's going to be the litmus test on how they're going to all react or how they might all change, or we just find out maybe we're lucky and she fell out of a window and I can like just go in and look at her shit.
Sounds good. All right. So you
Wait,
go
you like
upstairs to the second floor, down the hallway to her room, and knock. And pretty quickly, she manages to get to the door. So you remember last night, it was like it sounded like she was coming from a long way away, even hollering, "I'll be there in a minute," kind of thing. This was, pretty quickly reaches the door, consistent with the size of the apartments that you're used to here. She pulls the door open. The chain's there. Kind of blinks hard. What do you want?
to discuss some interior design choices.
Ooh, say that again.
They're being a little bit of an ass to discuss some interior design choices.
Who the hell are you? Are you from Art Life?
No, unfortunately not. Though there is a piece of literature that you were involved in that I'm curious about.
And why are you here about uh, um, interior design? What? I'm too hungover to deal with this. What?
Sorry,
Speak plain.
you gave a book to someone that I would like more information on.
Okay, can you be more specific?
It's a play with a red cover, probably from a place that has more doors than there are
Oh, yeah.
rooms.
I gave that to somebody?
You gave that to a reporter.
Oh, I remember her. Right. Yeah, she was cute. Um, yeah, sure. I gave her the book, right? Got to share these things. It's a good book. What's her name had given it to me? No, no, she gave it to Roger first. Roger gave it to me. Abigail gave it to Roger. Roger gave it to me.
Do
Or
you
did
know who
Roger
gave
give
it
it
to
to
Abigail?
Thomas? Thomas gave it to me. I got it from somebody else who lives here. I don't remember right now.
Right. And do you happen to remember our prior conversation?
I'm sorry. I don't think we've met before.
Agent Gaucher.
Agent Gosha, you got some ID to go with that, Agent?
Uh, not me in character forgetting my code name, but I have control of this. They just they don't lean in and threateningly, but they kind of look like to the side as if they're checking for anything. I am afraid that I left my identification in Abigail's apartment, but I don't need to enter if you are not comfortable.
You're a little sketchy, but you seem all right. Well, just come in. I'm tired of standing here. She unlatches the door and lets you in. It's a small apartment, same size as the other ones. Basically, sort of the mirror of what you've seen on the other side of the hall in like Roger's room, that sort of thing. There's bookshelves along every wall. There are even a couple that are like standing back to back in the middle of the room, kind of thing, and they're just covered with books. She's got, like a little desk, a little writing space, a little couch, and a chair, and a tiny little coffee table, small kitchen kind of thing. Um, Bedroom, toward the back that you can kind of see through a half open door. So nothing, particularly odd other than, there's a lot of books, but you actually no. Did you have you done? You haven't done any background check on her. You've just talked to her. So you would guess that she's either a book hoarder or probably her art is some sort of
Well,
writing.
the article mentioned that she was like a poet. That's
There
the
you
same
go.
article
Yeah.
I found out.
Yeah.
So
it,
they
it totally
they're
dodges the thing.
trying to
You
not.
see in books of poetry, a lot of feminist poetry, some older stuff, things that you might recognize, you might not, but yeah. So yeah, that's kind of what you see. There's a old beat up futon that she sleeps on. You can see or sits on like as the couch. A little beat up chair next to it. Nothing particularly fancy. Nothing particularly large. No real other personal effects. So she like brings you over to the couch. Sit. You want some coffee or something?
I wouldn't weak stomach this.
Oh yeah, me too. Yeah, I'm gonna skip the coffee. What were we talking about?
I suppose this is the part where why don't we start from the beginning? I'm part of the team that is looking into what happened here, part of the cleaner team with the FBI.
Sorry, cutting in and out. You were saying you were part of the team investigating the Wright's disappearance?
Yes, state police are making a fuss because it's a cold case, and they're wanting to get in some extra help, so they contacted my team. We work with a few different people. Really, we just specialize in cold cases that turn into she ran away or he had a second family in a different country, that sort of deal. But need to walk through the paces. Are you comfortable if I ask you some questions about Abigail?
Well, I'm not comfortable, but go ahead and ask.
Well, if you're not comfortable, I'll keep it as short and brief as possible.
I'd appreciate that.
Well,
My head is pounding.
we're all hurting this morning. How long have you lived here with Abigail? How long have y'all both cohabited this building?
I was definitely here when she moved in. That was, I don't remember, last year sometime. I've been here 3 years, I think, 3.5. Um, you know, we didn't really hang out or anything, but we would talk occasionally, see each other at the holiday party. I mean, it's kind of hard not to when there's only like 6 people at the party. Um, uh, occasionally we'd smoke out on
True
the
enough.
balcony. I mean the roof. Um, yeah, I mean, it was sad when she sort of disappeared. I haven't seen her since June. That seems right.
And
That's when she
before she
disappeared, right?
before she disappeared, what was her overall condition? Did she seem stressed, perturbed, or any other strangeness about her?
I don't know. She seemed focused. She mentioned she was working on a project. She would get that way sometimes when working on a painting or some other project. I got the sense it was something big. I didn't pry. We don't poke into each other's work around here. You see the work when it's ready. But yeah, she seemed sort of focused and happy, busy. Definitely, moving fast, not like hanging out in the hallway and chatting kind of thing, which she had done before we first moved in.
And since her disappearance, has anyone or anything seemed off or strange to you here?
Not really. Everything's been pretty much normal. Yeah, status quo.
Can I question to storyteller here?
Yeah.
This does not match up at all with the kind of tone she was giving off. Is it possible for me to try with the little percent that I'm going to have with this penalty to see, is she being genuine now, or is she trying to pass off as not knowing anything?
Right. What are you using? Human int? Yeah. What's your score in
This is
that?
a very different style.
Gaucher, human int 42.
Strangely enough, 42.
Yeah, I think with a 42, you don't even need to
for
roll.
22.
Yeah, she seems genuine.
this
I mean,
penalty,
you're getting
but
the
it
sense
could
that
happen.
she's truly hungover, confused. She doesn't seem like she's in a state that she could pull the wool over your eyes. So you think she's being genuine. When she said that she didn't recognize you, there was no like, the usual human tells of like looking up to the left or whatever the thing's supposed to be. They would talk about it on Lie to Me. Yeah, she seems to be sincere.
Just a few more questions, then I'll be on my way. I understand it's a very rough morning for all of us.
Yeah, I think I'm going to go back to bed.
The previous night, very understandable. I'll keep it short. Previous night, we did hear a rumor that someone did attempt to break into the building through the basement, or rather into the basement. Did you hear or notice anything like that?
No, when was this supposed to be? I don't remember anything about that. Break into the basement.
The reports or the rumors are a little bit scattered. Our information is a little bit incohesive, but our rough assessment is somewhere between 11 p.m. and 3 a.m. in the morning. Would you happen to remember what you were doing at that time, and if you noticed anything?
No, it wasn't just Tommy trying to get into his studio.
We had checked, but he didn't recall trying to enter the studio that time.
Yeah, no, I don't. And out of character, am I supposed to know what you're talking about? Because it doesn't ring a bell to me.
Out of character, Gaucher's wanting to see, is this just like regular hangover, or just like how half the team is feeling like shit after an encounter with the night floors? Is she suffering like some sort of effect where she can't remember, or is she just going to straight up say, yeah, I was just drinking? And
Gotcha. So Gaucher's like making something up about this thing, or was this something we actually talked about?
They're straight bullshitting to see if she
Okay.
tells what they were up to.
That's what I thought, but I wasn't sure. But yeah, no, she doesn't know what you're talking about. Or who could have? It wasn't her that put out that um, made a complaint about a break-in, so she hadn't heard anything.
They're trying to
But yeah,
dig
your
to see if she
sense is-
tells them like, "Oh no, I was."
Yeah, you can't really tell if it's just like an actual hangover or if it's a deep in the night floors feeling like shit kind of hangover. But it seems to be more like a real hangover, but maybe a mix of both. Given what you've experienced, you wouldn't discount that.
All right. I'll note that down. We have talked with the people that do own the building about potentially having maybe just a squad car come by every now and again for the next week, just to make sure no one tries anything again. So don't worry, we're taking care of that.
It's fine. I'm sure it's fine. I mean, none of us have anything stored down in the basement. I mean, other than Tommy, that's worth stealing. I mean, and let's be honest, his stuff's not worth stealing either. Don't tell him I said that.
It's a bit esoteric for my style. To be polite. Well,
Yeah.
I've taken up enough time. Why don't
Oh, thank
you
you.
show me
Yeah.
that?
Yeah. I mean, if you need more, come back tomorrow.
And one last question, if I may, before I depart. And they're kind of like trying to like act as they're trying to find a way to pinpoint what they're going to ask, but in reality, is there anything off in the space that would stick out to them, or something that reminds them of anything on the night floors? Anything that
Let me
seems
think.
similar?
Let's see. What would be a good skill to test with that? Make a case for something while I think about what you might find.
I'm trying to think what best blends like basically fast talk bullshittery and also just a quick
Search.
scan. Alertness probably doesn't work.
Yeah, I might go with alertness, but there might be
search?
Persuade.
Is search a thing? I forget
Probably a
what the
good
skills are.
option.
Yeah, search
The
is
best I could come up with would be persuade or alertness. I leave that.
Okay. Yeah, go ahead with alertness
For a
because you're
second, I
just looking for stuff that's out of the ordinary, looking for like weird glitches in the pattern, so to speak.
Weirdness.
Yeah. So yeah, success. Yeah, on your way out, you notice on the desk by.
So, unfortunately, with the minus 20, that is a failure.
Oh, that is a failure. Yeah. Yeah. Fuck it. It's close enough.
Yep.
That you just kind of catch a glance at a book. It looks like a dictionary, just kind of partly covered by a sheet of paper, and it looks like you can see like Lish hyphen Tartessian dictionary, so presumably English. And you spot that on your way out, and at first you don't notice. So like your failure actually kind of fits in. It's not until like you're walking down the hallway when you're like going through the list of languages that you know of in your head, and you're like, "Fucking Tartessian? That's not a language." And you're like, "Is it?" So then it gives you something that you might want to look up. I'd say get on your phone and check. You can't. Yeah.
Like,
I get you to call the library and say, do you have an English Tartessian dictionary? And
that's on the plan, but at this point, I imagine they're going to want to start getting ready for this lunch meetup to get the play out of the public's hands.
Right. Meanwhile, Greeby is downstairs. You've gone through all of the footage, and I guess it's footage of sound as well. So you've checked your recordings. Nothing out of the ordinary. You have the audio of you guys going up and down the stairs and talking in the hallway a little bit. You've got video of the roof. You've got video of the room that you're in. Nothing really shows up. You've been recording pretty much the whole time. I'd say, I guess you've got it like on a time lapse, and just even you were even recording video when you weren't there last night. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Make an alertness check.
Okay. I'm at a -20.
Yeah.
Okay. I have to figure out how to do
If
that.
you hold shift when you click on the thing, it'll bring you up a.
Okay,
interface
thank you
for
for the
you.
modifier. Okay, so -20. Okay. So
Or we can just do it manually. And
I
yeah.
got it. I just needed a reminder.
yeah, so you didn't notice it while you were reviewing the film the first time. So you get through everything. You don't notice anything amiss, and you go to find the stack of books that you guys brought down from the smoking room, and they're not where you left them. So you check around the room to see if maybe Gaucher or Gourmet had moved them or something. They're not in the kitchen. They're not in the bedroom. They don't seem to be there at all. There is on the floor a tiny little slip of paper from when you ripped the page out, and it tore unevenly, and like a little bit of it fell. You can see kind of like the edge of a photo in it, but it looks sort of like faded and washed out, much less vivid than it was last night. But there's no sign of the books. And if you go back and look at the video and scroll through, the stuff from last night, you'll see that about 3:14 in the morning, between two frames, the books are there sitting on the table where you left them. In the next frame, they're gone.
Just gone. No.
Yep, just gone.
Even if I try to slow the footage down or
It's literally between frames. Yeah. One frame they're there, next frame they're gone.
They just disappear.
Yep. And this is just, 24 frames per second video that you've got.
Right. Mother. I wonder if they'll reappear whenever it becomes night again. Okay. What about the page I ripped out? Is it gone?
What'd you do with it?
She had tucked it in her jacket pocket, folded it and tucked it in her jacket pocket.
All right. Yeah. You reach into your jacket pocket. There's a piece of paper there. You pull it out and unfold it, and it's a Chinese takeout menu.
Okay.
So, how about a sanity check against the unknown?
Okay. Is that also at a -20?
Yep, everything's at -20.
Okay. Sanity.
Although maybe I should give you. Maybe you're so fucking tired that you should get a +20.
Right?
I think you should.
Okay. So fucking tired. All right, good. I passed.
There you go. Yep. Yeah. You're just like, oh, whatever.
Whatever. This fucking place, man. She literally is just like, just sits down and starts picking shit off the wall again. And doing the job that they were hired to do while she waits for Gourmet and Gaucher to show back up again. I think at this point. Yeah, I mean, I think she's going to wait for them to then come up with a game plan for what they want to do next and whether they want to try to do any research. Like, I know there were a couple of other clues from the night floors. There was that mechanical drawing that with the LEAO on it. And there was the napkin with the monogram GBR. So yeah, I don't know. Like, but she's too fucking tired to try to puzzle over that shit right now. Like, it's more like she's just gonna sort of focus in on doing the work, and I think hoping that stuff kind of processes in the background as she's just sort of
Mhm.
like yeah, like if that
Yeah.
makes sense. Yeah.
You do notice while you're just doing the work, the tedium of it, the sort of meditative work of it. Before, when you were working in the room, it always felt oddly creepy and invasive, almost like mentally invasive, and it just that just feels like a normal room now with paper on the wall. It's like there's none of that sense. Everything just feels sort of almost calming, almost like you fit.
I don't like that. I don't like that at all. I feel like that means that the room hasn't changed. I've changed, and that's worse. Actually, and I
Yeah.
think she's even more paranoid and on edge and weirded out because it feels normal,
Yeah.
and she knows it intellectually. She knows it shouldn't. I think.
Right? But
Yeah.
somehow you still can't be arsed to care. So Gourmet, you've dropped off your tumbler,
Mhm.
and you've asked for it to be checked as quickly as possible. So you'll probably get, like you say, stuff back on Monday morning,
Okay.
because it's just a matter of doing some swabs, running it through. The actual tests don't take long, but it's the after of looking it up in the system, and at this point in time, we do have computer databases of things like that. It's a lot slower to search through them than it is these
Yeah.
days to find a DNA match. So you've got like half the morning left. Do you head back to the McAllister, or do you have
I
someplace else to go?
I think so. I think he goes back to McAllister.
Right, yeah.
Well,
So you'll find Greeby in the room, um, just like humming along, and maybe seems almost content, pulling stuff off the wall and doing the work. Gaucher's coming down the hallway, because were you going to go back to the room or go talk to somebody else, so I don't screw that up.
They would check in with the room to talk about that weird dictionary language that they saw, and maybe say, "Hey,
Yeah.
if someone's going to the library, I got something for you to dig into."
Yep. So Goshi's coming down the stairs, headed toward the room. Greeby's in there, doors open, windows open. She's probably humming to herself and just seems perfectly at home in this strange collage room.
Gourmet probably brought coffee for everyone. And we'll say some muffins this morning. And
What flavor?
he sets them down like on a table or whatever. He's just kind of listening to Greeby and listening to her hum. And that's probably, I would assume, maybe when Gaucher arrives.
Yeah.
And he'll turn and look at him and be like, "You look like shit."
I feel like shit, so I think it's appropriate to match.
Dropping in and out a little bit there. I think you said you feel like shit.
Yeah, they just deadpan look him in the face. I feel like shit, so it's appropriate to match.
And then he'll probably ask for an update on what he just did. So he mentions the thing about the language.
He kind of like gets in the room, makes sure the door's shut before they start talking.
Okay.
I believe that either the residents are starting to experience cognitive loss, or there is another entity or force that is purposefully toying with us. Van Fitz did not recall our conversation from several nights ago and swears up and down that she does not recall ever meeting me. And I don't think she is lying. So either she has lost that cognizance, or I wasn't talking with her to start with.
Was she under the influence of any alcohol or drugs?
This morning she claimed to be hungover, which I don't have enough information to contradict it. It seems plausible. But at the time we first spoke, she seemed much more abrasive, energetic, defensive, and she explicitly hinted at mentioning. Nope. She explicitly hinted at the existence of the night floors. This time it seemed as if she wasn't even aware of their existence. Not that I pushed the matter. But do either of you know a language called Terrassian? Or
Tartessian.
Yeah. Or less.
No, is that something I can make an occult roll maybe to see if I?
Occult would be fine, but at a penalty, probably -20, because it's not really
Tartessian.
occult. What about history? Anybody got history?
I have a 13 in history. I have a 50 in. Oh no, excuse me. I have a 30 in occult. So the -20, I'm only down to a 10.
Yeah, actually, taking a -20 on occult, I'd still do better than with history.
Yeah.
So you're welcome to try that with occult.
Okay.
All right, -20 on occult. All right.
Yeah,
Nope.
Nope.
Doesn't ring a bell.
Do I remember? I remembered that we had brought some books back, though.
Yeah, when you look for them, they're not sitting on the table where they were when you left.
What happened to those books, Greeby? Did you move them?
Nope. They just disappeared into thin air. You can watch the footage if you want.
Yeah.
They're there 1 second and gone the next. And the page that I tore out of one of the books last night, it's also disappeared. It was in my pocket. Now I have a Chinese takeout menu.
He'll walk over to the table where they were and kind of look under the table.
Really? You think?
Knock, knock. Yeah.
Really? Really, Gourmet?
Well, Greeby, things don't just disappear.
she just starts laughing, like hysterically. Like it borders, it's like right on the edge of hysteria. Of like, just.
He's just looking at her like, I don't know what you mean. So.
Yeah. Well, you're welcome to explain it away in some other fashion after you watch the footage.
Of course, yeah. Let me look at it.
You go ahead. You go right ahead. I'm gonna go and have a cigarette.
And he just calmly, he's gonna go.
Yeah,
Watch the footage.
you watch the footage, and sure enough, about 3:14 in the morning, from between frames, the books disappear. You were warned about this, so I don't think you need a sanity check.
I don't know.
You were expecting it. So.
Well, I was expecting.
I hope you were.
So that's
Yeah.
And he'll just kind of sit back and just kind of do one of these things, kind of.
Is it okay if I do an occult roll on the number on the if there's any significance to the 3:14 a.m. to the
Sure.
3:14 to see if
your occult's pretty high, right? What is it?
it's 50 something.
No need to roll. The only thing that you can think of is it's the first 3 digits of pi.
Right.
Or it's April 14th. No, wait, March 14th.
March 14th.
Yeah. And I'm not smart enough to know if there's any occult thing associated with March 14th or pi, for that matter.
Okay.
There's probably some sort of alchemical thing that pi rolls into. And there's certainly numerological stuff that pi rolls into. So maybe not. As for that particular time of the morning, it's kind of the witching hour. It's the middle of the night. halfway between midnight and dawn.
But the glass didn't disappear.
No, well, not in the middle of the night. No.
Okay.
Yeah, you still had that this morning. We're able to drop it off. Yeah. But the glass wasn't in the building. Because you took it with you to the hotel.
Yeah,
so maybe
that's true. That's true. I took it out of the building. So,
Yeah.
Okay.
That's the only thing you can think of that's different.
Okay. He doesn't apologize. He just steps away from the viewer.
Yeah. If you think about it and look around, did you take the napkin too, or did you leave that, or you just took the glass?
Yeah, I think I took the napkin too. So.
Okay. Yeah. So yeah, that was that also did not disappear.
Yeah. Okay. So it's like the building is reclaiming things.
Could be. I guess you could go back up to the smoking room and see if the books are back there. Where you?
And it's only like afternoon or like late morning, right?
Yeah, it's like 11 in the morning. So that probably occurs to you that it might not work.
Yeah. I guess he will just quietly go over to a wall and begin to start taking things off. He doesn't. He needs order. He needs like a pattern.
Right?
To follow.
Yeah, and this again, this is like where it was odd before. This is like, in some ways now it's oddly not odd. It's just like, oh yeah, we're just taking stuff off the wall. Oh yeah, it's a nice piece of paper. Oh look at this. This newspaper ad for very it just seems like this is normal. In the same way that Greavy seemed to be just normally going about doing stuff. Yeah. Gaucher needs to go to lunch. Do you want to go alone, or do you wish to have company?
They kind of think it over for a moment. I do have a appointment with a contact of mine. If either of you or both of you wish to accompany me, that is perfectly fine. If you need some time away from
here. Gourmet will look over.
Yeah. So. I'll walk with you.
And Gourmet's kind of looking back at the wall and it's like, this isn't bringing any value. Because now, like you said, it's now suddenly become what I do. I take things off the wall, right. And he's like, that's not right.
You haven't run across any weird items that jump out at you as not fitting. Everything seems to fit. It's almost like it's starting to make sense.
Yeah. And that's where he's like, he likes a pattern, but he realizes before all this was random. So he's like, you know what? I think I'll go with you. Why don't we just leave all this here? You said the window was open?
Yeah. You might want to.
He'll go over and close it.
Yeah. I just had this image of, basically mouse cleaning house. Throw the windows open. Let's, got your hair up and
Yeah. For whatever reason, he's just like goes over, closes it, locks it. Yeah.
I mean security.
I think we could all use to step away from her for a little bit.
Where are we going?
Ellie Drummond is the woman you're going to meet. She is a journalist, the one who wrote those articles that found about the stuff. Someone that Gaucher apparently used to know or has known or still knows.
Gaucher kind of explains as they're going to a prearranged outdoor area because they strangely just feel pushed off from all those cozy little spots that are only 15 square feet right now. They don't fit with him anymore.
Yeah. You might have noticed that the whole time you guys were doing stuff in the room, Gaucher was kind of like in the doorway.
Yep.
All right. Yeah. So you meet up at a little outdoor cafe, and Ellie, sees you and says, Oh wait, what was the name that you gave her? Did you
Uh,
know her as your real name? Because I remember you talking to her and saying, "Hey, this is so and so."
the issue is that they knew each other before Gaucher joined, so they're having to balance this line that they are probably already crossing way too much.
Right. What
But
is your
they
real name?
know
Leo.
the real
Right.
name. Yep. They know them as Leo, whether they remember the last name or not. Hopefully they don't. If they do, well,
I
that's
don't
just going to
think
have
she
to be
does.
a.
I remember playing it that she didn't even remember your first name at first, and then it was like, "Oh, right, yeah, yeah, Leo." Um,
Perfect. So makes it easier.
right, yeah. So she'll
Um,
see you and say, "Oh, Leo, hey, how you doing? So good to see you." And you brought friends.
I know I'm so sorry, Ellie. We were working on a project and it seemed rude to just step out without offering them a chance to also step out. Elliot, this is Jerry, and they gestured to Gourmet, and this is Gina, and they gestured to Greepy, like politely making introductions to try and make the situation less awkward.
He'll Gourmet will reach over with his hand and trying to turn on his best New Jersey accent. He's like, "Hey, how you doing?" Puts out a hand to shake.
Yeah, hang on a second. I'm just making a note. I love that you've named them Gary and Gina. Sticking with the G's.
How do you eat hard G's?
Yep.
This is G cell.
Ellie. Yeah. Okay. Oh, well, yeah. Well, yeah. Glad to meet you. Yeah, sure. There's no reason we can't all have a little lunch.
Yeah.
How do you guys know Leo? Are you journalists too?
Nah, I'm actually a high school physics teacher,
Awesome.
and one of those. God, where were we? Uh, I think it was at was the Poconos. I think we went skiing, and I met you at one of the lodges. That was the time I broke my toe. And we were
Her
just
eyes kind of glaze over, and she's just nodding
we
politely. And
were we were sitting in the lodge and having a couple of drinks and anyway, I'm sorry, I'm talking too much. Let
oh, no,
please.
no, no, it's fine. And Leo, I realize you're not into journalism anymore. You're working with the CDC, right?
In a hybrid sense, some of my work involves still covering some journalistic sources, but it's more of a communications role. I go
Great.
in, we find out what's really causing issues, we make sure people don't panic with conspiracy theories and all of that garbage.
Oh, that's very good. Yeah, you don't know
And
how many just conspiracy theories we get submitted to the
uh,
magazine all the time. Anyway,
people just talk
the
about
waiter,
this all
yeah,
the time. Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry.
waiter walks up. Sorry to interrupt. Takes your orders and that kind of stuff. And you guys will sit there and chit chat with her about whatever you want. Whatever you want to bring up. At no time though does she bring up the reason that she's meeting you.
After maybe like halfway through, uh, Gaucher kind of clears their throat to kind of put to rest whatever the conversation got to. So, Ellie, you remember the book we had talked about?
The book. That's why we were meeting for lunch. Oh, I left it in my apartment.
Uh, well, it happens to the best of us. If you're comfortable, we can set up another appointment for me to collect it from you or figure something else out. Don't stress on it.
Right, right. I could drop it by your work on Monday.
Uh, on Monday, I could actually meet you close by at the park. I'm actually working on a project now in the area, and it would just make it easy for you because you're doing me a favor. I don't want to be that big of a burden with it.
Oh, right. Well, I mean, if you're in the area, you could just stop by the apartment and pick it up tomorrow.
I didn't want to impose since I understand the awkwardness of this situation. I didn't want to impose, but if you are comfortable, I'm more than happy to.
Great. Yeah, no, that would be fine. Look, listen. I hate to cut this short, but I need to go. I've got to be somewhere. Yeah. And she kind of like gets up. She seems a little agitated. And you notice like as she's like putting her pocketbook into like she's got like a little small messenger bag kind of thing. You kind of see a red leather cover of a book like in her satchel as she's putting things away, and gets up and it's like, okay, yeah, see me tomorrow. Just give me a call before you come by.
Are there glasses at the table? Or sorry, go ahead.
Glasses
go.
of water?
Water, drinks, or anything else?
Yeah, they haven't cleared anything out yet.
Perfect. I would like to roll to be an asshole. But I'm trying to figure out how best to do this. Pretty much when
Yeah, so
when
you're gonna
Gaucher notices the book, they want to roll, and they're basically trying to be like accidentally like knock a glass over to like get like water or something on here, and offer to like, oh, here, like here's some napkins and all that in the chaos, see if they could swipe the book from her bag.
All right, yeah, give me an unarmed combat roll.
That thing.
And we're after lunch
Assuming I
now,
still have -1.
so no penalties anymore. Success, yeah. So you like go to like reach out and like you're going to shake her hand and hit like the pitcher of water that that they left on the table. You knock it over and it spills like right into her bag, just swoosh, and all down her lap as she's like putting her pocketbook away. Oh my God! What? Oh,
here, Gina, can you help me get some napkins? And trying to, between the two of them, hope someone could swipe it.
right. Yeah. I was saying. So Gaucher just like threw a pitcher of water in Ellie's lap. Do you two do anything?
Yeah. I mean, if I know what do we know that he's going for the red book? Because I mean,
yeah, I'm going to say you all noticed something that there was a red book in there. And you filled them in on what you were looking for.
What they had filled them in on was there was a book mentioned that Michelle had given to this reporter that could potentially leak this to a general public scenario, so it needs to get captured at all costs.
because I mean, I would say like, given her training, I think Greeby would very easily be able to try to like just slip the book out unnoticed. With like she's quite stealthy.
All right, yeah, give me yeah.
And Gourmet, is probably going to stand up at the same time.
Oh come on! By 1 point.
Spend luck.
Spend
luck.
How do I spend luck? Oh, I see luck.
Yep.
What do I do with that?
You just reduce your luck by 1.
Yeah, that's a Call of Cthulhu thing.
Yeah, but there's
in Delta Green, luck is just a 50-50 roll.
Sorry.
It's not a stat that you can spend, but I kind of wish that it were.
Okay. I'm sorry.
I just think you missed it by 1 point. We're going to go with that. You only missed it by 1 point, so we're going to give you. What do? You success, but with conditions. So you get over to her, and you're trying to be sneaky. You manage to like get your hand in the bag and like start pulling things out because the bag got wet, and you're like putting them on the table and mopping them down and everything. So you kind of like get the book out along with a whole bunch of other things without her really noticing that, but you don't get the book because you're kind of like, oh, let's do a thing.
Okay. Maybe realizing that she's not going to be able to be completely stealthy about it, she just starts pulling everything out of the bag and laying it out on the table, and like kind of sets the book down on the table in front of Gaucher, but doesn't like try to like
kind of like throw napkins over.
Yeah. She's trying to pat stuff dry, and she just starts to make kind of lean into it and make a commotion instead, and like try to make it seem natural.
Gourmet, you stood up, and are you trying to be distracting, or are you going to try to help?
Yeah. What he was going to try to do was kind of slide in front of the girl, with napkins and been like, "Oh, look at that! We spilled
Doing the
water
pat
all over
down,
the place."
right? Yeah.
Well, yeah, basically trying to block so that as Greeby is taking the stuff out, and Gaucher can grab it, but he's basically just trying to like block her view. And you're like, "Oh, look at this! We spilled the water. Oh, let me get this for you," and just like blocking basically.
Right. Sounds good. All right, Gaucher, as he's doing this and Greeby's like throwing things out on the table, covering things with napkins, you spot this red leather book kind of hit the table. And give me a sanity check because you notice the cover of the book has a certain symbol on it that you've seen before.
This is
Failure.
great.
So you guys hear Gaucher
So about
muttering,
that.
"Have you seen the yellow sign?" as he's reaching for this book. What do? You don't notice, of course, that you're saying anything. You're just like, "Oh, there's a book that could be the one we're looking for."
Have I heard that expression before?
Have you
I've been
seen
known, Gourmet hasn't.
the yellow sign?
Yeah. So Greeby's the only one who might notice the fact that was something that Gourmet said when he scribbled that symbol on the wall, and he didn't hear himself say it.
Yeah.
Why do you guys keep asking that question?
Asking what?
What Gaucher just said?
Flipping the book.
And he's gonna say that, but then still trying to distract the girl.
What? We'll talk about it later.
Right.
Yeah.
Gaucher, give me a stealth check at plus 40 to yoink the book. Assuming that's
We
what you
are
want to do.
Completely and utterly competent agent. The modifier?
Plus
40.
40.
Plus 40.
Those two are doing a good job distracting Ellie.
Yes. How about that?
Yeah, so even with the plus 40, you're
Oh
doing-
my
you're-
God!
All right, yeah. So you get your hands on the book, you pick it up, but it's wet.
So what
and
had happened
oddly
was
slippery, and it goes like sort of sliding off in the table out of your hands, hits the street because you're on this street side cafe, flops over and just like falls into the gutter and disappears into a drain because it looks like there's one of those little steel.
Oh my goodness!
Game over.
It's in the water supply.
they don't
I'm not going
Don't
down
think
there.
about
There's
it.
clowns.
just
They're
gonna-
clowns.
they don't think about it. They're just gonna grab napkins and pretend as if they were just trying to like help dry everything off.
Right.
And
Good news is you
the
succeeded in
inside-
getting the book away from her. Bad news is you did not succeed in taking it out of. Well, I mean, it is sort of out of public consumption. I mean, maybe Hobo Joe down in the sewers might find it, but
It's out of the hands of someone that could potentially be in a position to spread it, so that's a partial win.
right. All right, so you get her all patted off. You get all of her accoutrements from her bag patted off and dried. The waitress has come in at this point with like more like bar towels, trying to help get things off. Ellie seems pissed, but trying to hide it.
And Gaucher is trying to like just play the whole like I'm so embarrassed. Like, I am
No,
so
yep.
sorry. It's,
I'm not going to be
everything's
available
ruined, just
tomorrow
let-
after all. Call me later in the week if you want to get together. And then she just like scoops up her stuff and walks off. You can tell that she's pissed in the way she's walking, but she's trying to not be because she knows it was an accident, or at least she really hopes it was.
They don't push it because they know better than to push someone who's already trying to like keep themselves in check. So it's
Yep.
just right. Apologies again, and awkward wave.
Okay.
And trying not.
And the waitress is like, so who gets the check?
Points at Gaucher. So.
Don't look at me. I live in a van.
They'll just accept the check without word of their failure.
Right. Yep.
And then,
So
and then once we're alone, what was that? What? There was a book of some sort.
There was a book. And now the sewers have a book.
Do we need to retrieve it?
Yeah, like how important is the book?
It could be important to what we're doing, but it's more dangerous than important. If we wish to devote resources to finding it, we could, but my objective is to keep it out of the public view. If it turns to pulp and mush in the sewers and we never learn a damn word of it, then I believe that's success enough.
And he'll just kind of glance down at the sewer and I'll take your word for that.
Better a win in a...
yeah.
Also, the question that Gaucher asked Gourmet is the same question that you asked previously. Whenever you, I forget. Do I remember why when he said it, or do I just remember that he said it?
You three were in the night floors, and somebody had the idea of drawing the weird symbol to see what effect it would have.
Right.
So Gourmet just whipped out a Sharpie, drew it on the wall, and as he was finishing the symbol, he just said, "Have you seen the yellow sign?"
So
Didn't
yeah.
know anything about it.
But I don't remember saying it right because I didn't know I said it right.
Right?
But
Yeah, and you still would deny that you said it at all without some sort of recording. Unless you're humble enough to admit that maybe you said something. It was a weird place.
No.
But
All about control.
But Gaucher just saw it, and you can explain to them that you saw the weird sign that that you get that little squiggle that you guys had seen before, but you have no recollection of saying what you said.
Did Gourmet hear Gaucher say it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So, but Gaucher doesn't remember saying it.
Right.
Gaucher just remembers seeing the book and doesn't remember speaking at all.
Yeah. So it's the same pattern. The person who saw the symbol or drew the symbol said those words but doesn't remember saying them, but the other two people heard it. So you did say it, Gourmet, but you don't remember saying it, just like how Gaucher doesn't remember saying it right now, but I heard you both say it and you each heard each other say it.
Allegedly.
What do you, allegedly?
Let's just move on from there.
Have you seen the yellow sign? What the hell does that even mean? Anybody seen a yellow sign?
He will actually just start glancing around the street to see. I'm taking
There
it
are
literally.
several
Were there any yellow signs in the paintings that freaky artist was painting down in the basement, or?
You can make an intelligence check to try to remember Gaucher, or you can just blow her off.
Gaucher would try to remember because they fucked up with the books. They need a win somewhere. All right.
I gotta look up those damn pictures. Let's see. Oh, and here's success. So let me see. I don't want to lie, but I'm pretty sure that you did not.
I'm pretty sure not as well, but I guess a better question would be, if they think hard enough on those paintings, was there anything in them that seemed reminiscent of that symbol? If they can remember that symbol, like, consciously.
Yeah, it's like when you try to remember it, you can kind of see it in your head, but it's always like there's a piece of the line missing. It's like you can picture all of it, but like maybe this piece is missing. But then when you focus on that piece and it comes into focus, another piece sort of seems missing. But yeah, you got the general gist of it. You're pretty sure you could draw it. Just trying to hold the whole thing in your mind at once is difficult. There was no yellow signs that you saw in the basement, but you did see a yellow Post-it note on the great work. That was labeled "My Great Work," I think, or something like that. The empty canvas, yeah. And then one of the pictures was like some creepy dude in like a yellow robe standing at the top of a stairs in the middle of a fire. So that was like the only reference to yellow. And yeah, there was some yellow in the painting of the clown, but just sort of like abstract yellow around.
So thinking back to the guy in yellow standing by the fire,
which I don't think you described to the gang. You only really described to them the blank picture and alluded to the clown picture. Oh no, you did eventually come clean and go, there was this picture of a clown that I've seen before, and you just said the other pictures were weird, I think.
They came clean about the clown picture, but they didn't describe it.
Yeah.
Thinking about the clown at the top of the stairs, do those stairs look reminiscent of anything?
I mean, you can open the handout of the
Very
Eternal Stair and
happy thought.
take a look at it. Reminiscent of the stairs. Are the stairs reminiscent of anything?
They're trying to see. Does that look like the stairs to the night floors?
Not really. They seem to be just more like an abstract representation of stairs. But you're no artist. So they could be, Manuel's representation of the night floor stairs. That would be an interesting way of interpreting them. There could be like real stairs at some place where there was a house that burned. You do notice that like the swirly curly cues on the carpet on the stairs are reminiscent of the same sort of strokes in the weird symbol, but I mean none of them are exactly the weird symbol. So difficult to say. Art is hard. And I guess while you do have a bit of an art background, it's not in painting, it's in like writing or something, right?
They have a bit of one, but not as an actual creative technique. They look deep in thought. The only two yellow references in those paintings were the clown figure at the top of the stairs and a Post-it note on a blank canvas. But it was their greatest work in
stairs.
Yeah. Had a little bit of judder there, but you were, I think, you just described the Post-it note and the guy on the stairs, right? Yeah.
The man on the stairs.
They described the Post-it note and the stair painting.
Yeah.
Can we see this painting again?
I mean, you, the players, can look it up. It's the handout, The Eternal Stair.
Right.
And then the handout Manuel's Basement Workshop. But if the characters want to see them, you'll have to go down into the basement to see them.
That's what Gourmet is saying is, I want to see this painting again because we took stairs to go to the night floors. Maybe he painted. Maybe what he saw.
And I technically told Miss Van Fitz that there was a attempted break-in at the basement. If I were to tell Manuel the same thing, then he would want to most likely make sure everything was safe, and we would have a reason to investigate.
Gourmet and then still standing is like, let's go.
Gaucher still wincing at the check, having to pay for 4 people eating, but it's the 90s. Inflation hasn't hit that hard, right?
Right, yeah. So it was like $40.
Gourmet reached in his wallet, hand him like $40. Like,
yeah, you guys got handed $1,000 each, so you've got some expense money. Okay, yeah. So you're heading back to the McAllister to go down into the basement. All right.
Yeah.
You get back to the McAllister. Basement door is locked. How do you wish to proceed?
I have a 50 in criminology, but I don't know if that necessarily translates to picking locks.
Yeah, no, that's more about knowing.
Right. No,
about criminals.
Is that more stealth, or is that more just
Yeah, I don't
flat
think
out
that.
dexterity?
How do you wish to bypass the lock? What are you trying to do?
Try to pick it.
With what?
He probably has some kind of kit on him for forensic use.
Forensic use. Sure. If you carry a lockpick kit around, then just give me a dexterity check. Yeah.
Okay. Any modifier or just straight?
Straight up.
Okay.
All
Ruby
right.
and
So
Gaucher
you can
learning
get
something
the
new
door
about
open, but
Romantic.
it's going to take you a little while because it's not
Sure.
something that you do every day. You're not like Sherlock sitting in his flat practicing picking up the locks.
And
But
he's
you can get
patient.
it.
So, yeah.
So what are Gaucher and Greeby doing while Gourmet is doing this illegal act?
Well, I don't care if he does the legal shit.
Bear in mind, you were like sort of down under the flight of stairs that lead up to the main door, so it'd be really hard to be seen from the street. But you are kind of in the open in the middle of the day.
I think she'll probably just try to like screen him, like from other people being able to see him, what he's doing. Like just try to provide a little cover.
Okay, here's where the luck comes in. Click your luck button.
I mean, the warrant is on its way. I'm just worried.
Sure it is. Oh, critical, yeah. So nobody from within the building, nobody even walks down the street during this whole thing. Yeah. Critical luck check.
You can't even hear a mouse fart, right?
You get the door open, you manage not even to scratch it up too much. It was already kind of scratched up, but so you're in the basement. And I'm trying to remember how we described this when Gaucher went down there, but it's you first go in. It's sort of basically the size of the building itself. Manuel's studio is toward the back, so in the front there's like some storage, a couple of fenced off cages where the different tenants can like store some things. None of them are locked. They seem to be fairly comfortable with each other around here. Nothing in particular down there. There's some like maintenance stuff, like some old paint cans and like rags and tools, maybe like some paint stripper, things like that. From the last time something had to get fixed. It's all covered in dust except like the path that leads straight back to Manuel's area. And in his area, he's got like a bunch of paintings that are like kind of like stacked against each other, leans against the wall with like a canvas thrown over them. But then the four that Gaucher saw are all laid out. And the great work is still there. Looks like maybe there's some white paint on it, but it's certainly maybe some texture if you look at it from the side. But you can't really quite tell what's going on with that.
So maybe it's not blank. It's just white paint on it.
Could be. Do you want to touch it?
Yeah, he probably has flashlight out because I'm thinking we didn't flip on the lights or anything.
Mm-hmm.
So, and with flashlight, he'll just touch his finger to it and maybe just scratch with his fingernail just a little bit.
It's oil paint, which never really completely dries, but you can definitely tell either like he put some gesso on it or something like to prepare it, or maybe he's been painting stuff. And if you like get up and put the flashlight at an angle along the side, you can see there are some like ridges and stuff in the paint. Like he has been putting some white paint on there. It's thin, but it looks like maybe there is something going on there. And you get kind of a gesture of maybe there's a pattern there. You feel like if you stared at it for a while, maybe something would make sense. Do you wish to make a sanity check?
Yeah.
Success. Yeah, you shake off the feeling that maybe you should stare at this for a while.
Yeah. It's like those paintings you used to have in the mall where you had to stare at it for long enough to find the image. Right?
The magic eye, man. You're unfocused. Yeah.
All right. And he'll point this out to the team. He's like, something's either been painted over on this, or something's just been painted in a color to blend in. And he's going to kind of trace kind of what he finds there, kind of showing them.
Yeah.
Is it the symbol or?
Let me think. What would it be? No. How long do you guys spend trying to figure out this? What might be painted in white on white?
I don't think a long time. I think he just wanted to check that. What he really wants is that painting of the stairs with the guy.
Right.
That's
Yeah,
what
and
he
that's sort of
really
off to the
wants to see.
side on the
Yeah.
kind of leaning against the wall. You can see the thing. What about you other two? Are you going to investigate this white painting?
Sure.
Okay, make a sanity check.
I mean,
This is gonna go.
I mean, she's
Versus the
just
unknown.
she's staring at it like trying to figure out what the hell Gourmet's going on about, and a little bit miffed because he was giving her crap the other about how books couldn't disappear. Now he's trying to convince her that this white canvas is somehow like I don't know. She's just
But it's
like,
right there. He has evidence of it. Oh, look at that.
Yes. Oh man, I was hoping you'd fail.
I have evidence of it. I had footage. What?
All right, Greedy. Fail. Ah,
Gourmet. Yep.
Greedy failed. All right, Goshe, you kind of like shining your light around, and doing what Gourmet was doing, like looking from the side, trying to see stuff. And as he does that, the light lands just right where it just pops out at you. A face, maybe? No, a mask. Yeah, you're absolutely sure it's this pallid white mask just staring holes into your soul. Take 2d3 sanity damage.
Me?
Yep.
2d3.
You can do /R 2d3 or space 2d3 in the chat.
Okay, /R space 2d3. That didn't do anything.
There you go.
Oh, yeah, it
damage.
did. There it goes. 4. Whew. Okay. All right, took 1 off, so I'll take 3 more off. Okay.
Yeah. So, and then it's like this mask is like coming out of the painting, like getting closer and closer to you. It's like, and you feel like you're falling into it. And then Goshe like shifts the light around and like looks at something else, and it's like, I don't see anything.
What did it look what did it look like? A mask of what? Is it a lion or
like
head,
like a Mardi Gras mask, just plain white,
Okay.
Yeah.
So like a masquerade, like like someone might wear to a masquerade?
Yep.
Ah.
Probably should have given you more damage than 2d3, but
I got
Go
lucky,
save-
rolled low. But yeah.
I think if Goshe had also failed, you guys would both be like spiraling.
They've spiraled enough for now. Thank you.
Yeah. All right, so
We can go a day without. Oh yeah.
you guys have basically successfully retrieved a book. You've interviewed someone who last night knew about the night floors and this morning seems not to. Have you come to some decision about what you are going to do about this crazy ass building? What is your plan? And if you don't have one, we should spend the next 15 minutes or so thinking about that. Because especially now that you're seeing this weird thing. Oh, and Gourmet wanted to talk more about the painting of the dude in yellow at the top of the stairs, who has this interestingly white face. It's not detailed enough to tell if it's a face or maybe it's a mask.
I think once they've had their moment in the basement, and Goshe fights their temptation to do something down there, and everyone reconvenes. I imagine we're all reconvening in Abigail Wright's room.
Seems like a good place. Although it's nice and quiet down here in the basement. A little dusty, but
Yeah, but technically not theirs to be in.
yeah, true. You don't really have any cause to be down there.
All right. The way I see it, we have 2 options. We either keep trying to unravel the exact details of this entire property and every ounce of strangeness there is of the unnatural, most likely burning ourselves to a crisp or even worse in the process. Or we need to make a determination on if we think retrieval of Miss Wright is possible. And they just kind of look to the other two to kind of see where their heads are at.
Right. So I would say I would remind Greeby that she has some experience with other dimensional incursions and how to deal with them.
Well, I don't think we want to drop a nuke on a, or we don't want to cause a nuclear explosion.
But this is sort of giving you reminders of Chernobyl.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you want to share with the group or, but either way, you're uncomfortably reminded of your little adventure at Chernobyl.
Yeah. Look. If this is really some sort of incursion by that demon, fallen angel, whatever person.
I forgot about him. Yeah.
Yeah. Which is where she's leaning. I mean, like it's somehow, you know, tied to him, like this wouldn't be the first time I have encountered a being trying to cross over into our reality. And I can't say that the way that we dealt with it at the time was necessarily the best way, but we destroyed the location, let's just say. We utterly wiped the location off the map. But do we take the same approach, and B, do we try to get Abigail or any of the rest of the people trapped in there in the night floors out before we do?
I would think the current residents would be easier to evacuate. Abigail is the question mark. Technically speaking, our mission is not explicitly to retrieve her, it's to deal with this situation. While
Right.
I would prefer to bring her home, if we fail, it means that this incursion point will go unchecked. Do we want to risk that for one person?
Let's just say I've killed a lot more people than this would do in order to prevent something evil crossing over and doing far more damage.
Gaucher looks to kind of Gourmet to see how he's taking in this conversation.
Yeah.
Gourmet was listening quietly. He probably sides with Greeby in that it's just got to be decisive and, you know, quick. But realizing that there's people here, are they people who've been influenced by the night floors?
So we kill them too, is what you're saying.
Well, I wonder if leaving this building would help them reacclimate to more of a sane. He's just trying to pick his words carefully.
Well, we could wait and observe Ellie and see how she does with now that the book has been removed from her possession.
That would be a good sample.
The problem is the amount of time. The longer we wait or the longer we don't take action, the likelier that whatever is causing this incursion reinforces it. My main concern is that the night floors are the source of it. Whether or not we can treat or be humane to the residents, I believe is something that should be tackled after. Besides, I don't think they're the ones manifesting it. They don't seem to be, in my opinion, they don't seem to be culprits as much as they are victims.
But are they tainted?
Possibly. By that same logic, are us the retainted? Besides, it's very easy. Well, very easy. I would say it's easier to explain away the destruction of a building than it would be to explain the destruction of a building and half a dozen deaths or disappearances.
Explain to whom?
Right? We have to make it look like an accident.
Right. And
do we really think this is the best course of action? Do we think destroying the entire building will stop the incursion, which has been happening? I mean, that's the interesting thing, right? It's the whole timepiece, and obviously the architect who built the building was somehow tainted and messed up, right? Because he killed all those kids, and yeah, I just don't know. All I can say is that's how we dealt with it the last time I encountered something remotely similar. I can't say it's the best course of action now, or whether it's really going to fix the problem. I just don't know what else to try.
the residents could be potential liabilities down the line.
They could.
They could try to, if they're connected to the entity, they could, even without this building, could they still try to further that entity's agenda, whatever it is? I don't know. Or do we, just burn the whole thing down with everybody in it?
Question for the handler.
Yeah.
Is this building like connected to other buildings? Like
No, there's a narrow alley on either side.
Okay.
To like get you to like a rear yard.
So theoretically, we could burn the building without the fire spreading.
Yep. I mean, there's still a chance that it might spread, but
Yeah.
you can probably strategically time notifying the fire department so that that would be minimized.
Is this a building with natural gas?
Yes, you would have messed with the kitchen enough to know that natural gas. Yeah, and it looks like it's been retrofit, like it originally had gas lighting. And yeah, when you think about it, you're like, yeah, I think I saw some gas gas piping down in the basement when you were down there.
Mhm.
Maybe the furnace is gas powered. Could be fuel oil. You didn't look closely enough, and there was enough other weird smells down there with Manuel's studio that and all
Right.
the
I mean,
linseed oil and shit that
all those paint
you can't
cans.
tell if it was fuel oil that you smelled or what.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of paint cans. I mean, who knows what's accidentally flammable down there?
Technically speaking, a lot of solvents used for oil paints and paint removers are extremely flammable to the point of being hazardous waste in some areas.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be amiss if they caused an incident.
It is possible that an accident could happen in the basement, that the fire department is notified, and that some residents are able to get out in time. Do we have we don't really have the capability of calling in resources that could take the residents somewhere else?
You could, file a report with Marcus, with a recommendation that they look into that. I mean, you guys are still sort of new in Delta Green, so you're not really,
Right.
and there's not a lot of like top-down communication in terms of this is what we're able to do.
It's just get it
Usually-
done. Yeah.
We trust your judgment.
Here's your
Um,
first.
yeah.
Yeah.
You suspect that, if you recommended like these people might be, needing to go into a loony bin, that maybe they could work something out. They have ties with the government, so it's a possibility.
Yeah. I
But
mean,
again,
Gourmet would
you don't
prefer-
know if that would
Yeah.
be a bad thing or a good thing. Yeah.
I mean,
You
Gourmet
already
would prefer
saw
to
the
be
effects of
neat.
the book on Ellie in the way that she lied about having it and was
Yeah.
very agitated. So
Yeah.
I don't know. I make no recommendations.
Oh no, I know.
Yeah.
I mean, Gourmet would prefer it to be neatly done with no loose ends, but he's not a killer. So, but he agrees. Burn the building down. Just let's try that first, and then the people could be studied to see what. I mean, I'm sure we have some, connections with the Red Cross that could come in and help, put these people up somewhere so that they can be helped.
So Gourmet is advocating for reporting to Marcus that the people should be removed, and then what? The three of you burn the building down, or just have it accidentally happen and y'all make it work?
It just accidentally happened. I mean,
Okay, so making a recommendation that the building be destroyed.
Yes. Yeah.
You two, what do you?
Yeah, he might come back and tell us to do it. I mean, I certainly have. I would say he probably has the skills to do it. Let me look here.
Yeah.
I think I took No, I did not take demolitions. Okay, so no.
But you can probably work something out with, like you guys all pointed out, that there's stuff in the basement that is bad. Yeah, so you could totally report, this is what we found, this is our recommendation for what should happen, and then see how they want to deal with it higher up, or you can take action yourselves.
Gaucher, how do you feel?
Report findings to Marcus. Insist that the appropriate course of action is complete and total destruction of the building by any means. While we will not wish these people condemned, the residents should be considered expendable. Any that survive, tagged and monitored for any signs of unnaturalism.
So
All right.
contact Marcus, recommend that the building be destroyed, and if the tenants survive, they should be monitored.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Greeby? mean, it kind of sounds like Gaucher's leading towards let's just do it ourselves.
Which is very much going to be like, the longer this is here, we need to like get this thing down. But they are going to acquiesce, wait an extra day for Marcus to like get back with them.
I have the feeling Gaucher is of the school of better to ask for forgiveness than ask for permission.
Mm-hmm.
Gaucher is very much of the mind of good Samaritan laws cover a lot more than you think.
I had to burn the building down, officer.
I think one of the things that that makes Greeby valuable to the Delta Green is her ability to just do what needs to be done. And I mean, she's very much trained to just do what needs to be done and not like, and if there are some casualties, and there are some casualties, yeah. So, but if Gaucher and Gourmet really want to give the people living in the building a chance, then she won't stop them. But especially because this has become very personal for her with their, like, as far as she's aware, like nobody else saw their photo on the wall, and like, or a photo of a family member. She would happily go over there and burn that fucking building down right now. Like, so yeah.
Okay, so we have one advocate for let's just go ahead and burn it down. One that's we should recommend that they burn it down, and if people survive, okay. And one who wants to try to save the people and then have someone knock it down later. So what are we going to do?
My preference would be start the fire, call the fire department, and then let them call the fire department after it's sufficiently a decent fire has started, and there's smoke alarms in the building, right? I mean, there's
we have to make sure that it doesn't get saved. Like, it needs to be razed to the ground. So how do we do that? We don't want the fire department coming in and putting the fire out and them rebuilding the building. We want it annihilated.
Then,
like, how do we do that?
And Gourmet is then we don't worry about alerting the fire department. We just start the fire ourselves, and we don't necessarily want any explosives or anything in there because we're trying not to hurt any of the other buildings. There would be really no reason for there to be explosives in this building.
If we
it just happens to be some C4, right?
Just like, burns really well. She glued this TNT to the wall. Gaucher just kind of looks around and is just looking like they just want to crawl in a hole and die. If we could damage the bottom floor and the basement enough with this fire, best case scenario, the building collapses with minimal casualties outside of those affected. Worst case scenario, it doesn't destroy the building fully, but it marks it unsafe for them to be in, and the city can have it slated to be condemned.
Yeah, I mean, is it a brick building or like what's the?
Yeah, there is a sort of sandstone kind of facade, but it's obviously a facade, that's hanging on some sort of frame, most likely a wood frame based on the size of the stories and the time it was built.
Okay. So yeah, theoretically, if you destroy the bottom level, it should come down.
None of us are demolitions experts, but right? Or
I have no demolition, so
yeah, I don't think so.
Gaucher is going off
fire.
Goshi's going off of their slight skill in forensics, which I imagine to them would mean maybe I've seen like an aftermath of a fire at some point when investigating something.
Sure.
But
Yes,
this is very much still up.
You have a little bit of a background in forensics, then you're pretty sure that fire would set in the right spot would probably destroy all the supporting timbers in the basement, and the building would collapse even if it didn't burn completely before it fell apart. But just from what you guys saw in the basement, you're pretty sure you could make it work. And if you went back down there and investigated, then I'm sure that you can figure something out.
I get a truck full of fertilizer and I drive it into the building. Go with me.
If they are using fuel oil instead of gas, then okay. So sounds like we've settled on the three of you are going to try to burn the building down.
Yes. Yeah.
When?
Sounds like it.
Immediately? Wait till the night?
I don't think we should do it at night. I think we should do it during the daytime, because I feel like if there's a power there, it's stronger at night than it is during the day. Because hence, that's why the rooms appear then.
Good point.
But that's my.
And and that gives us a little more time to plan. So.
I mean, we can run it by what's his name, like, and see what he says. I mean, we can keep an eye on Ellie. We can, as long as I don't think anyone new is going to wander into the building and, become a problem in the next day. I think as long as we don't go back up into the night floors, we can keep ourselves, on the saner side. So I don't know that there's too much threat in terms of waiting a day, but I could be. I mean, I don't know. I could be wrong.
I think waiting till day.
If we wait a day,
idea. Yeah, gives us a little more time to plan.
We wait a day. Not only that, I want to see if there's any new behaviors.
You want to see what?
I want to see if there's any new behaviors before we burn it. We'll still burn it.
Behaviors?
But they've all three officially gone to the night floors, and they talked to Michelle, but Michelle seems off, as if she wasn't there. They kind of want to check while they're preparing to burn this bitch down if anyone else is acting off or weird or disconnected or temporary amnesia or whatever.
Do you want to talk to people this afternoon?
I think when they reconvene to make their final movements before turning this thing into a torch, they would want to go about and talk and get a gauge of how messed up are you, and do I think you could be salvaged, or are you collateral at this point?
Gotcha. Well, it sounds like you guys are hoping to do this tomorrow morning, Sunday morning, Sunday afternoon.
Yeah.
Sometime before Sunday at night, or even this afternoon, depending on if you can pull a plan together fast enough.
I prefer my arson on Sunday mornings.
Yeah. So it sounds like this afternoon would be the time to interview people if you're going to do it.
They grab a notebook and a pencil. It seems I have one final round of social calls to make.
All right. So Gaucher is going to head upstairs and talk to people. Who do you want to hit first?
They're gonna hit Manuel first.
All right. Let's see. What floor is he on? Yeah, he's actually on the first floor. Yeah. Him and Roger. Okay, so you head down the hallway to go talk to Thomas Manuel. You two stay in the apartment building. You can hear Gaucher go down the hall and knock and introduce themselves. What are you two going to do while they're doing that? Oh, you're welcome to go with them.
No.
Do we need to see about sourcing what we're, something to actually execute. Yeah, I mean, like,
You want to go back down to the basement and look around? Assuming that
God.
or did you want?
Weren't we just down there? Wasn't that where the creepy
Yeah.
mask thing is? I don't want to go
Yeah.
back in there.
Yeah, no, I think.
Well, it seemed to be that's where you were thinking of starting the fire. So
Yeah, yeah. I think we know where we want to start. It's like-
Maybe we should go with Gaucher because the last time he got out of our sight, we lost him on the night force for like a really long time. We already lost one person who were about to basically just blow up.
Gourmet,
Maybe we should stick together.
I don't know. Gourmet doesn't want to see any of these people because he's afraid that that'll influence his ability to complete the job.
Gravy does not have that fear, so she's gonna go with Gaucher and keep an eye on him because she doesn't want to lose another person. At least not another one of us.
Gourmet still has his soul, I guess.
Yeah.
So, Gravy sounds like it's gone.
all right, I gotta go back and look real quick at my notes. When you first talked to Manuel, not sure I actually wrote much down. Do you remember if it was day or night when you talked to Manuel? I think it was daytime.
It was daytime the last time they had talked to Manuel.
Okay. Right, yeah, and then he was like, "Yeah, I'll take you down. I don't usually go painting until later." Yeah. Okay, yeah. So you knock on Thomas's door. Click, click, click. He comes up, and you can see like the peephole darken, and he was like, "Oh, hey, it's you again, Agent Officer Gauche."
Try again. It's Agent Green.
Green. Thank you. Sorry, I'm not really good with names. Did you need something else? And he seems, kind of
Actually,
nervous.
yes. We received a disturbing report that there was an attempted break-in to the basement, and I wanted to speak to you about it.
Oh no! Is my stuff okay?
Well, we did preliminary looking into it. We can't find any sign of someone successfully breaking into there. I wanted to talk to you before we did a more thorough investigation down there.
Oh, okay. Come in, I guess. Yeah, I mean, when was this? I haven't noticed anything missing. Oh, but you said that they didn't actually get in. It's just like they were trying to break in. So that's good, right?
So far, though, means, motive, and other details are still pending. And they gesture for Greeby to like join them as they get ready to enter.
Oh, who's your friend?
This is Agent Garibaldi.
Oh, nice to meet you. How are things going on the hunt for Abigail?
I'm sorry to say that they don't seem very promising. Most of the information we've found seems to be more related to her potentially having underlying conditions that I'm not at liberty to divulge.
Sure.
But
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's only been a couple days since you got here, so
we are hoping to look more into her family life to see if there's any causes or triggers. But before we get too far onto that topic, do you recall where you were between the hours of 11 p.m. and 3 a.m. the other evening?
here, I guess, sleeping. I haven't gone out in days.
Mm-hmm. And you haven't had anyone that expressed any frustrations with you, any ill will? You haven't gotten into any arguments with anyone you know, be it a resident here or anyone else?
No, I've been getting along fine with everyone who lives here.
And as they're talking and going through the bullshit investigation questions, Gaucher is still looking to see if there's other weirdness like there was in Michelle's apartment, like other weird books, dictionaries.
Ooh, make an awareness check.
Yeah, I can kind of be like just. I think Greeby's just sort of being the silent like observer as well. So.
Are you standing in one place, or kind of like moving around and looking in the
I'm kind of moving around, just looking
Okay.
nonchalantly.
Just to remind you guys from last time, it's a pretty austere apartment. He doesn't have any art on the wall. Doesn't have any art books, art materials. All that stuff seems to be down in his studio. It looks almost like it's a hotel suite, and that there's nothing personal anywhere. It doesn't even really feel like a home to you. So yeah, fairly simple. The door to the bedroom's open. The kitchen is neat and tidy. Everything seems to be put away. Everything is really just very precise and tidy. All right, so Leo got 5 success on the alertness. You can go ahead and make one too, Greeby, if you're also kind of wandering around just looking for odd patterns.
Nope.
The odd thing you kind of notice, Gaucher, is as you kind of like pace past the bedroom door, you notice under the bed, kind of peeking out a little bit, like it's got pushed under but didn't get pushed under all the way, a really sort of gaudy, gothic looking, or not gothic, baroque more looking, like kind of gold gilt frame of some sort, possibly a mirror, hard to tell from the angle you're at, or maybe a piece of art of something, but definitely like what looks like a frame corner, kind of like sticking out from under the bed. What do you call that little bed skirt? It's called skirt on the bed.
Mm-hmm. Well, also, I'm sorry to disturb you and stress you out about this situation. I understand that your basement is, well, not your basement, but the basement is your workshop. I would offer to go down with you to check if there's anything amiss, but if there's anything down there, perhaps that you would like to cover up or that you would like privacy for, we can wait here to give you a minute or two to go down, check on anything you find there that you wish.
No, I showed you the other day. It's all good. You've seen it all already.
True enough.
Just don't touch my great work. Leave that. I'm still working on that.
Of course, out of courtesy and respect. However, there was one interesting thing we did find. We found a patch near the back wall that seemed as if someone from the inside had damaged it, bleeding outward. Do you recall anything about that?
No, I don't really do much in the rest of the basement. I stay in my studio. I haven't really looked around.
The only reason I would ask is it seems recent, which confuses us. We don't see any way for the perpetrator to get in there, but the damage is there all the same.
Well, I mean, I'm not the only one who goes into the basement, so somebody else might have a key.
True enough, but I figured it would be best to ask you since I know you're the most frequent there. If I might ask, would it be all right for me to bring you to the basement to make sure that I understand where your effects and where you normally are start and end? Just so that way, if we find anything anywhere else,
you don't go down if you want. I'm not doing anything.
And they're trying to like gear or steer him out to like lead them down and kind of not, oh, you need to get down there right now, but kind of like we really do need to get this taken care of so I can get out your hair, and hope that Greeby like stays behind because they're gesturing, hopefully without him noticing, towards.
Right, you can like gesture back with your hand, like stay back. Yeah.
Okay.
Like behind their back, they're like pointing backwards.
You want me to search the apartment while you're gone?
They're pointing like to the bedroom and hoping that message gets across as they keep talking. I understand. Okay. I know it sounds very convenient. I understand it's part and parcel. I just want to make sure that, pardon the crassness, but I want to make sure that all of our asses are covered. I don't want you dragged into something if someone did something idiotic down there. I don't want anyone accusing us of not doing due
Sounds good. All right.
diligence.
So then, to speed things along, he goes down with you. Doesn't notice that Greavy has stayed behind. Like stuck her foot in the door as it goes to close, so it doesn't latch. And he'll take you down and lead you to all this stuff. And you guys will be down there for 10, 15 minutes as you lead him through things.
Every
All right.
minute.
So Greavy, what are you looking for?
I think she's just looking for anything that, right, you don't want to say anything out of the ordinary. But I mean, obviously anything that might have that symbol on it.
Right.
Anything.
What I should ask is, how are you looking? What are you
Oh.
doing to search?
Okay.
That would be the better question for you.
Well, is there any? I mean, in terms of like just a mechanics thing, like skill-wise, my SIGINT is the highest thing, but I don't know if that comes into play here in
That's
terms of.
for analyzing signals.
Yeah, that's
The
not
signals
gonna.
intelligence, so that's not useful here. It's really going to be search, but what is Greeby doing? How is Greeby going about things? And then we'll use a search, unless we.
Oh, okay. I mean, so I guess she got the signal to kind of look in the bedroom. So, I mean, she's just gonna do sort of like a quick, she's checking drawers, she's looking under the bed, on the nightstand, if there's like any kind of a jewelry box or a safe, if she finds any kind of, I mean, yeah, she's just trying to do a quick.
So without even rolling, you notice, you look under the bed, and there's a really large mirror under the bed. Do you want to look for anything elsewhere? Are you happy that you found the mirror?
No, I think she would keep looking. I mean, it's weird to have a really large mirror under your bed, but maybe you just needed somewhere to store it and there was nowhere else to put it. I don't know.
Right. It is the most ornate, and it doesn't fit with the rest of the decor. So that could be why they shoved it under the bed. Who knows? So give me a search roll. Okay, yeah. So that's really all you find out of.
Oh, fuck's sake!
Yeah. You do notice, like in the main room, there's a small cabinet that, like when you open it, there's like some stereo equipment inside that you're not, sure why that's hidden away, but maybe it's just because this guy's a neat freak. So really, the only thing that stands out as unusual is this very Baroque, gilded framed mirror, and it's one of those stand mirrors where you would like a whole body mirror.
Oh, okay.
But that's it. That's the only thing that seems weird that you find.
Oh, I don't want to look in the mirror. I think. Yeah, no. She's done with this fucking place, I think.
Oh, one more thing that you do know.
She doesn't want to look in the mirror.
One more thing you do notice, because you check the fridge and everything.
I was actually going to say I checked the one thing I do still want to check is look in the fridge.
Right? Okay, good. So you notice that there's a lot of food in the fridge, but when you check the expiration dates, they're all from like 5 months ago, but all the food seems perfectly fine. Nothing's gone off. So make a sanity check against the unnatural. Yeah, you're fine. It's just adding into the rest of the weirdness. There's 5-month-old food in here that seems perfect, like it was bought yesterday. More weirdness going on. There's a guy who hides mirrors under his bed that you don't want to look into.
Yeah, no.
So you're just gonna leave?
Mm-hmm. I want to go try to get, because I mean, her purpose in following Gaucher was to keep an eye on him and not let him out of her sight, because she's.
Yep.
That already happened once, and she doesn't want to lose. Enough people are about to die. I think she she feels like she doesn't want to lose him too. So she's.
Yeah, so you head out toward the exit to the front of the building.
Yeah.
Gaucher's coming back in. They're alone. Manuel decided to stay in the basement and maybe do some painting or tidy up or something like that. It is almost 10:30. It's 10:25, and you still, I assume, want to go talk to the rest of the people this afternoon. So we will reconvene next week, and we'll do a little bit of talking to people, and then we'll figure out how you guys are going to deal with the building, the burning down possibility. Oh, speaking of burning, got some heartburn. And possibly go into the interlude between the events that are happening here and sort of like the next leg of the adventure. So since we've got a few minutes left before 10:30, is there anything anybody wants to talk about or discuss or bring up that we should make note of before next time?
No. I mean, I thought about having Gourmet maybe go to a hardware store to look for some fire starting kind of items. But just maybe just a simple book of matches or something like that will probably do. So no, he's a little torn. He's talking a big game about just burn it down and get rid of all the liabilities, but it's still in the back of his head. He's never killed anybody, so
right.
He's
did you want to try to contact Marcus and make a report now?
No,
or are you going to wait
he's
till afterwards?
he's thinking that's a mistake.
Yeah.
That they're supposed to just deal with it themselves, and that that's getting him. He's just like no, I gotta, because I don't think he's probably done a lot for Delta Green yet.
No, I think we had established that you had all worked together on one previous adventure, let's call it, and then maybe one or two without this group that you had done. But it's only been like a year that each of you have been with Delta Green, and things don't come up that often.
So if anything, he's just busy work, just maybe going to a hardware store while he's like kind of getting himself ready, like, okay, like we got to do this. So
okay, that's a good idea, going to find something to rather than trying to get a whole bunch of rags oily, put them into a pile and hope that they self-ignite. Yeah.
Magnifying glass.
Right. Yeah. So you go and find some stuff, and I'm pay cash, I assume.
Oh yeah. No trail.
Yeah. Okay, that sounds good. I'll make a note that Gourmet is doing that. Well, I'll just rewatch this. Okay then. Any announcements people want to make for upcoming stuff? I think we established there's no. Was that applause?
It was applause. Thank you.
Oh, okay. What's that weird static?
For another fun game. StreamYard has gifted me with sound effects in here, so I will be using them going forward. But I want to say thank you for another great game.
Right. Yeah. Thank you, guys. It's been interesting. I never know exactly which way you guys are going to go. Or what we're doing. So.
In terms of
you got a big heart there, Gaucher, wanting to talk to everybody first. Or a creepy one. I want to talk to everyone before we kill them.
Listen. If you're going to kill someone, you'll look them in the eye.
Right.
Sorry.
Has Gaucher ever killed anyone?
Not that anyone's asked.
I'm just saying,
I mean, there was those ghouls from your joint expedition that you guys did like 6 months ago together. Might call those people.
Those weren't necessarily innocents, though.
No one's innocent.
Is anybody here innocent? I'm just glad you all got you didn't decide that. Well, we're all tainted too, so we just burn together.
Yeah, I wasn't signing up for that.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
Not that tainted.
no.
All right. Well, on that note, then I guess we will see everyone in a week.
Yeah.
Barring disaster of some sort.
Barring shit happening, which
yeah.
is happening all week for us. So
Right. So, thanks everyone for watching. Thank you guys for playing.
Yep.
See you later.
All right. Have a good night, everyone.
All right. Good night.